Hello guys, here is Zaghloul, and this is how to solve MySQL UUID performance issues, especially if you have an application with high traffic and with bad UUID string performance. Firstly, you should know about the UUID structure, then its own pros and cons, then how MySQL work with it. So the UUID is just hexadecimal digits, meaning from 0 to 9 numbers and from A to F letters. This 32 hexadecimal characters with 4 hyphens as a separator, like this example, used by MySQL version 8 based on UUID version 1, which is a combination between those character, date time, timestamp, and MAC address. So everything have its own pros and cons. So the pros here of using UUID instead of auto-increment primary keys, of course, is uniqueness. They are unique not only across tables but also across database and servers. They are hard to adjust for security reasons. They can be generated from server side, simplified replication for databases. Okay, the concern is here, of course, it takes much more storage because of 36 characters, more difficult to debug, a performance issue with two main aspects. One related to data type, as MySQL doesn't have a built-in data type for UUID like Postgre and Mongo and MariaDB. In addition to this, the second one is related to MySQL itself because of ordering and reordering at MySQL. So MySQL deals with your database to optimize it as the following. They store your data at files. Every file have its own pages and every page have its own records. So there are something called tuple ID, which refers to where your data located at the storage. So every time you insert a new record, they try to reorder it at the index tree, and of course UUID is not ordered, and this will make a performance issue. So from here, MySQL try to invent something called short UUID, which have a data type of 34-bit unsigned integer based on server ID and timestamp, but it has its own limitation of uniqueness. He doesn't guarantee the uniqueness only if you have requests less than 16 million per second. And it doesn't work with statement-based replication, and this will make us doesn't work with it. So for my recommendation, I recommend to work with UUID because of it is more common across databases and applications. So I will work today with UUID and try to optimize it. So MySQL has the following functions: UUID, UUID to binary, and binary to UUID and is UUID. And the last one is related to this one of short UUID. So UUID generate a UUID for you, UUID to binary, and binary to UUID is responsible for conversion between the two data types. And of course, they have this last argument for ordering the created UUID. So they will create an ordered one if you use true. So here to optimize the UUID, we will work with a binary data type for a good performance, and we will create ordered UUID. So I will drop table of exist, create a new one here, create table with ID is a binary with 16 byte to be suitable fit for UUID with default value that generate UUID binary from this function and make it order. So if you doesn't need to make a default value and you need to generate your UUID from outside your database, you can go for this constraint using is UUID to check its own validity. Okay, And here is the name. This will create a fake name like user-1-2, for example. So after creating this table, I will insert into it the default values 1, 2, 3 times. Okay, and let's see the result here. As you can see the result, they have a difference only at the first part, which means this ID is ordered ones. So I can search for the ID of user 2, use the following computation. UUID2 binary for the searched one. So I will convert this one to binary and compare it with the binary of the UUID, not the vice versa, to make the application more performant. And here we go. Let's try this. And this is the result. Hope this video is good for you and helpful. Please subscribe and check the vlogs. Thanks in advance.